Hey there, it's Clay with love.life. In this video, we're going to be talking about what to do if your ex is just pretending to be over you. Are they playing it cool, or do they just, genuinely not care? This is something that a lot of people do struggle with. Oftentimes people do get lost in this whole idea of context versus content. And by the way, what we're going to be advising you to do if this is happening is going to be probably a lot different than what you may have heard in other videos out there about mind games, power struggles, passing tests, things like that. We're going to show you how to shortcut through all of those things and just go right to the heart of the matter. So stay tuned. But oftentimes people in this sort of situation get really caught up in context versus content. So what is this? Context is the emotional state that someone, behaves from, and content is what someone actually says. Now, many times people, especially in breakups, people who want to save their relationship, they get very caught up in what their ex says. And they say, oh, well, my ex said they're over me, therefore they must be over me. My ex said that there's no chance, therefore there must be no chance. My ex said that they feel nothing, therefore they must feel nothing, right? And that's not to say that it's not true. Maybe your ex does feel nothing. Maybe they're a sociopath. Maybe your ex genuinely is over you. Maybe your ex really, maybe some major trust violation has been breached and they really do not want to ever give you another chance because, this is something that's really, really big for them. I don't know. But we don't want to get mixed up the idea of the words that are coming out of their mouth versus the emotional place that they're at. If they're in a place where they're upset, where they are stressed out, where they are feeling too much pressure or expectation, it may cause them to say things like that. And what happens is if we start to shift the emotional place that they are, feeling, then the words that are going to come out of their mouth start to shift as well too. So don't take what your ex is saying to you super duper literally, okay? Because many times as their emotional state changes, the words that come out of their mouth shift. And, suddenly, hey, we're over for good, there's no chance, becomes like, hey, I just don't know what I want. Hey, I always knew we'd come back to each other in the end anyway. Like we've seen this happen countless times over the, at least as of right now, 12-ish years that we've been doing this. Don't worry, this is super common. If your ex is just pretending to be over you, this is super common, actually. Many times after a breakup, we have this strong drive to make it seem like our life is better off without our ex than it was with our ex. So this causes people to go into this strong competitive drive with one another, where they post a lot of the stuff online. They post a lot of things about how their life is perfect, about how they're on this vacation, how they're dating a million people, how they're falling in love, how life has never been better, and all that sort of stuff. Now, when it comes to social media stuff, obviously we need to take everything with a grain of salt, because social media is not real life. It is a very curated version of real life. It's a very curated version about how someone is actually feeling. That's to say, most people aren't just going to post on social media, hey, I feel really confused today. This breakup is hitting me a lot harder than I thought it was going to. And the truth is, I just don't know what I want or how I feel. Sometimes I think I made the wrong choice in ending the relationship. Sometimes I think that I might have made the right choice. The truth is, I just don't know. Nobody's going to post that. They're just going to post hey, here I am at the beach on this new vacation. Here I am with my new rebound and all that stuff, right? So just know that most likely, if this breakup is hitting you pretty hard, it's probably also hitting your ex pretty hard as well too. Most people cannot just snap back from a breakup super fast without having to process certain emotions. It could potentially be really possible if your ex is just emotionally dead because they're a psychopath or something like that. Probably not. I think you would probably know if your ex was like that. If your ex just had some sort of, developmental challenge to the point where they just can't register emotions or something like that. You would know. You would have some sort of indication. Or potentially if your ex is, super enlightened and they can sit and accept the present moment and just let everything pass through them because they know that everything is impermanent and that all suffering is just caused by the mind and all of that. If they're super zenned out and everything like that, potentially they might be able to move on really quickly. But this is, I'm guessing, probably not your ex. Your ex is probably a flawed mortal person who has their own challenges and struggles, which means they're probably not over you if you are still strongly attached to them. I mean, like, especially if the breakup was fairly recent, right? Rebounds and all that stuff, it doesn't really go by the time frame, but often the time frame can be an indication that that certain things are unfolding, right? So like if the two of you broke up like, you know, a week ago, yeah, they're probably not over you unless, again, they're like a Buddhist monk or you know, a psychopath. Okay, so just kind of keep that in mind. Chances are they're probably just stuffing down their emotions and trying to make it seem like their life is perfect. But anyway, this whole thing comes from this whole basic idea that the two of you aren't on the same team, that you have to, you know, butt heads and clash and try to, you know, one up one another. And this is probably, if you're gonna be honest and look back on your relationship, this is probably why the relationship had some tough times and struggled in the first place. The two of you weren't on the same team. One of the most common reasons for breakups is because the two people were not on the same team. In fact, they're probably viewing each other in some way on opposite teams. That's to say, they felt like they had to guard themselves against their partner. They felt like they had to walk on eggshells. They felt like they couldn't ask for what they want or share how they felt. They felt like they couldn't trust their partner's intentions. They always had to spy on them, check their email, check their social media. Who is that girl that he's following? Why is she spending so much time chatting with that one guy, right? These are signs that you two of you are not on the same team and that you're on opposite teams. And after a breakup, this is going to translate into a lot of this hyper competitiveness where it's like, hey, let me show you how much better my life is without you. Look at you know, me going on some date with someone that I met on, you know, some app or something like that, right? It's not necessarily genuine. Many times it's really just this form of posturing. That's to say, you know, hey, look at me. I'm so much better than my ex. I've moved on so quickly. I have no emotions. I feel nothing. Like, as if that's something to be proud of. Like, come on. Anyway, that's a whole symptom of not being on the same team. The next reason why your ex might just be pretending to be over you, especially when the two of you are interacting, is because of an elevated sense of pressure that they feel around you. They feel this high level of pressure either to be in a relationship with you, to try to define how the two of you are supposed to interact with one another. They feel attracted to you in some way, but they don't want to get too close because then they're worried that they might send the wrong message. They might start to open themselves up to feeling things that they don't feel comfortable feeling, etc., right? And so there's this elevated sense of pressure and expectation. And many times they pretend to be over you, hoping that that's going to drop the feeling of pressure or expectation. Of course, this is backwards, right? You know, you don't just say like, okay, I'm going to behave as if I don't care and that's going to suddenly make me not care. Like that, you know, obviously that's backwards. But people try to do these things all the time. So what can often help is if you decrease that pressure for them so that they don't feel like they have to artificially decrease it themselves. And this can be things like just letting them know, hey, let's both just agree that we're not going to force anything that's not there. And it makes a lot of sense for us to just be friends for right now. You know, things like that can really drop that pressure between the two of you and help the two of you create a new momentum moving forward. So what we want to do is, you know, once again, stop being on opposite teams, start being on the same team through things like having a same team conversation. Number two, drop that pressure and expectation so that they don't feel like they need to artificially do it in their own awkward way by like posturing or, you know, talking about how they never cared about you or things like that obviously aren't true unless your ex is just like, you know, emotionally broken and just like never had some sort of emotional muscle in their body or something, like if they're just some sort of robot or something like that. I know that there's a lot of people out there that are like, yeah, my ex is always in their head and they have no access to their emotions. But I mean, come on, you know, if they were just really some sort of cerebral intellectual robot, why would they even be in a relationship in the first place? They're in a relationship because they felt something. They felt some sort of drive, some attraction, some desire, some sort of longing to be close to you, to experience something in their life, right? If they were purely just some sort of intellectual thing, only making rational, logical choices, then they would never be in a relationship to begin with, because relationships don't make a lot of sense from a practical stance. But anyway, that's a whole conversation for another day. Anyway, so with all of this in mind, we are trying to get on the same team. We are trying to decrease the pressure and expectation. These are all things to kind of set us up for dealing with an ex who is pretending to be over us. Now, in terms of what we actually do once these pieces are in place, is to just behave as if this is true. By the way, if you're liking these videos that I'm doing, please make sure you hit the thumbs up button for the YouTube algorithm. It does help give us a lift when it comes to YouTube. Like when YouTube is sitting there saying like, someone here just searched for some topic on saving their relationship. Should I show them Clay's video or should I show them Brad's video? They're going to say, oh, look, a lot of people hit that thumbs up button for Clay. Let's just put Clay's video in the queue right here. Like that's how you can help me out. It's totally free. It costs absolutely nothing but just a moment of your time. It's the thumbs up button. It's right down there. And you can also subscribe too so you can get notifications when we upload new videos. Anyway, so all of this is in place. All of this has been put in place as the framework. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to behave as if it's true. So if the two of you are on the same team, and if there's a decreased level of pressure and expectation, and your ex is pretending to be something that isn't true, what would you do? You'd probably just get curious and just say like, hey, it seems like you're kind of artificially putting up some kind of barrier here between us. Like, is that genuinely how you feel, or do you just like not feel comfortable talking to me right now? And if you just genuinely get curious, turn it around and ask them, then they have the opportunity to behave like an actual adult and to say, actually, you're right. I have been that way, and it's because this breakup's been harder on me than I thought it would be, and I just didn't know what to do. And then the two of you can actually have an adult conversation. Or if they're going to just like entrench themselves in this whole narrative of like, okay, I never felt anything for you, you were a waste of my life, or all these sorts of hurtful things that like clearly aren't true, then you just continue to get curious and go through what we call the one-way spike strategy, where it's like did you really think our entire time was just a waste of time? Did you like seriously never feel anything for me? Like, wow, that sounds like it was really tough for you if you wasted like all of these years together with me and you like never felt anything. Is that really how you felt? And you just kind of like continue to get curious and ask them, and you're either inviting them to actually get open and honest and real, or to double down on their BS. And if they're just going to double down on their BS, then you can obviously like disengage and let them go ahead and stew with that for a little bit. But the more that they paint themselves into a corner, the harder and harder it's going to be for them to deal with the consequences. Because, obviously it's easier for them to keep up this facade if they tell themselves a story that you were a jerk, that you forced them to break up with you or something like that. But if you're just behaving like a totally rational, reasonable person, they're going to know deep down that you're being a totally rational and reasonable person. And they're going to have to live with that consequence of like, okay, well, yeah, I know in my heart of hearts that they were being genuine here, and I was just, being stubborn, and like, gosh, is that really how I want to end things? Is that the way I want to live my life? And that can be like a heavy weight for them to bear many times. Just letting them sit with that, if it comes to it, can be really powerful. Of course, if you do get to the point where the two of you actually do disengage, I would recommend that you build some sort of golden bridge so that they can come back to the conversation and open up and share how they're feeling if they do have a change of heart down the road. Many times people do paint themselves into these corners and they feel trapped out of pride or, fear that they might lose face if they, admit that they were wrong or something like that. And so if we have a golden bridge, that kind of creates the possibility that, hey, it's okay to be wrong. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to change your mind. These are healthy relationship concepts. And if you're going to be in a relationship that lasts any significant period of time, you or your partner will probably be wrong about something, or your partner will probably change your mind about something, or your partner will probably have to admit that you were wrong, or admit that you made a mistake or something like that. So let's build into the relationship right now, early on, the fact that this is okay, rather than being prideful and stubborn and doubling down on stupid, right? So let's do this right now and build some golden bridges. Anyway, this is what we'd recommend that you do if your ex is pretending to be over you. And by the way, these are all strategies that we lay out for you inside of our course called Effortless Connection. If you do want to join us in this course, it is over at modernlove.life/EC. That's modernlove.life/E as in effortless and C as in connection. I know, brilliant URL crafting, isn't it? Anyway, you can also find a link for it down into the description box below. But anyway, thank you so much. Please take care, give this video a thumbs up, and I'll talk to you next time.